Children that live in high poverty areas, they see things hard, high crime. We have kids who have actually seen individuals shot or have to deal with homelessness, lack of resources. Well, all of those things impact the student. It impacts their brain. I know we're in the business of educating children with the understanding that we have to make sure that their needs are met. That's one of the reasons why we are participating in the restorative practice training, so that way it will help us, train us on how to give those supports to our students. And then once that occurs, then you'll start seeing it happening in their families. And so therefore it's impacting the community.
It was so powerful to me because I've seen conflict done wrong so much of my life. Like, it's so easy to push punishments, it's so easy to look down upon other people, but when you realize that there's reason behind their actions, and if we never teach them how to reshape that or reform that or change those processes, then we're not gonna set them up to be, successful members of society, or much less helpful people in our classroom. And so in my classroom, even when there is conflict, because there's going to be conflict between humans, we know how to deal with it and move on from it and learn from it, so that that doesn't necessarily happen again. And if it does, we talk about it again instead of just digging ourselves deeper,
Working with Caleb or Chattanoogan's in Action for Love, Equality, and Benevolence, we went about applying for grants, raising money, and essentially raising $40,000 in grant money and donations, which will allow us to effectively implement a restorative practice program, full school with K through 5.
Morning greetings. Morning greetings.
Taco Tuesday, Weather Wednesday, and it was Thursday. Say who compliment your the people.
Yeah, compliment your
grade.
student friends.
And Friday is I forgot the Friday. Oh yeah, Fun Friday.
And morning greetings, morning meetings, you go to the carpet and you do activities. It makes me feel happy in the morning.
Like if you were sad when you came to school and then we did word affirmation and someone said something nice to you, that brightened up your day.
That makes a good difference, because you can talk about your feelings with people that have different feelings than you and know something that you probably haven't felt.
Discipline was an issue, and suspensions and referrals, they were an issue. So really just diving into that, looking at root causes, looking for ways to help teachers in the classroom that will help students as well. I felt like if we could have a different approach on how we dealt with behaviors or how to build community within our classrooms, that in the end, that increases academic success for our students. And that's what we want. We want our kids to be successful. We want them to be able to impact the global world, which is part of our mission here at Orchard Knob Elementary School, and restorative practices just fell in line with all of that.
And overall, restorative practices is just a social science that teaches people how to build relationships and build community, so that when conflict arises, we know how to handle it in a way that mends the relationship rather than harming and cutting it off.
So if we get in kind of fights, people mess with us and stuff, we gotta calm down.
I love it for our kids. It's been beautiful. School should be a positive thing and a safe place for our children. And sometimes we all get frustrated and we all get uptight and emotional, and things are just real quick, and sometimes we're real quick to get on those kids. But if we take time to step back and realize they are children, we are human, take a deep breath, it just has made everything much better. And transitioning into things and how kids are responding to one another, you can see that has been wonderful, because kids that sometimes are quick to anger are like, oh, I just need a moment. I'm like, you take your moment. You have earned the moment to step back, relax, and then come and speak to the rest of the group.
Every behavior is communicating an unmet need.
And so sometimes it's easy. They're hungry, they're acting like this, you feed them, it's fine. Sometimes you have to dig a little bit deeper.
When you got anger issues, you just can't help it, because that's it's hard to just walk away and just look like he said something, so I'm not gonna do nothing. It's hard to do that, and I know.
And so the child who's 7 or 8 years old giving a teacher a hard time and giving certain students a hard time, he learns that behavior. So when he's in middle school, he does the same thing. He goes to high school, he does the same thing. He doesn't realize that at 16, 17, 18 years old, there's a different consequence that comes with that behavior. A child at 6 years old who talks back to a teacher or to an adult in the school system and gets suspended, they don't feel anything. Hey, I got a couple of days at home. Mama has to go to work. I'm home by myself. I eat all the Cheerios. That same child begins to learn that I can disrespect any adult and get away with it. Well, you can't disrespect adults in authority, especially the police. Because if you disrespect the police, you either go to jail, you get beat, you get shot, something that there are negative consequences that come with it. So restorative practices allows this child to be able to engage with that person they have conflict with, and they begin to learn to talk about their problems, express their feelings, build these relationships, garner trust.
And it's a lot of work, but if I can teach them how to resolve conflicts, again, when they get into those upper grades and they feel that they're behind or they feel frustrated, they're less likely to lash out and cuss their teacher or get into a fight and then get themselves suspended. You know, they're able to stay in school and reach out. I don't understand what's going on. Please help me. Or this person, I have a conflict with them, and they already have the tools to resolve it, rather than immediately turning to kind of less desirable ways of solving a conflict. One thing that I practice in my room is the person gets to come to you with the problem and your first response is, I'm sorry. Then if you have a rebuttal, you can bring that up, and then they apologize, because when they say, hey, you hit me, the person's usually like, oh, well, you, and it just turns into an argument rather than you need to pause to hear that person.
I think that that it's good getting to know how they feel, so that you know if they mad, then you can go over there and talk to them and make them feel better.
Restorative practices has help us change too. We have to do a paradigm shift too, and not just rely on punitive consequences, but how can we help this student make better choices, fix the relationship between what has happened between them and their teacher or them and another student, so it pays huge dividends at the end.
So seeing the changes from then to now is just insane. Like the fact that I get to teach during my whole lesson. Like I would used to lose lesson time before because I'd have to deal with stuff. The behavior specialist normally would have a bunch of kids following him around the school, and now I see him just walking around. We had our superintendent come into the school last week, and he even mentioned that it just doesn't feel like the same school that it used to be. And you can see that in our data. And our principal is very adamant and excited for us to come off of the priority list this year. And I think the changes that we're making, both in how we teach, but also just how we approach the behaviors in the school, is how we're making that happen.
The difference is if this person talking about you and for no reason, you might get a little mad, but then you gotta think something could be going on wrong with that person. So then you try to make that person laugh and feel better. And then try to make it your friend. But not everybody's like that. You gotta try to get somebody to laugh. But that's what's good, because then you make new friends out of people that was being mean. That's what's good, having friends.
We've done well at pulling the community in and just asking them for help, but now we're saying, here's how you can help and here's how you can go about it just outside of donations and time and coming to do other activities. They're saying, here's a full year of what you can do and how you can buy in.
If you ever get mad and you can't if you have anger issues, you can't just walk away from there. So people talk about you because they feel offended about themselves. So they want to make somebody else mad because they can't get madder because they're already mad. And if you just talk to them and say, why are you doing this and why are you doing this stuff? Can we just be friends? You know, I love to make people laugh and put smiles on people's faces, but you know, me, I'm not saying that I'm not a regular person, but I just can't help it if someone talks about me or do anything, because it makes me feel bad, and it makes me feel like that they're just trying to talk about me. But I think after going to the school for a few years, I've learned from my teacher that you can sometimes walk away even if you have anger issues.
If you just talk it out with them, it can be easier, so you can fix things up and make them happy again.
I teach reading, so some of the topics we talk about, they're making personal connections to these stories, and they're feeling like, wow, if I was in that situation, it reminds me of when I talked to you about this in class. So they're digging deep.
I think with this being continued in Orchard Knob, we will only continue to see the growth of character that we're seeing now. We're going to see a growth academically in data.
It's just not just a school thing, but it's a community thing, and I just want the community just to get behind it. But I do want them to understand it's not just a one-time fix. You have to work on it because it is a paradigm shift. We're going to get better at it every year, and we're just so excited to see what OPE is going to do. I'm very excited about that. I'm very excited to see the direction that we're going in.
Other schools, I hope you can use these strategies to help your school. And it's been a pleasure meeting you. Bye.
Bye.